All right, guys, this is Cooper with Podcast Not Done, Project 4 a.m. It's obviously not 4 a.m. because it's daylight outside. I've gone to record this about 3 or 4 times and just stopped at like minute 1 or 2. And yeah, just trying to process how I feel about this. But today I wanted to talk about, do you feel like a Christian? In our culture right now, and just, man, I'm just going to speak about myself, but, in the beginning stages of, I guess, my salvation story, since I was a kid, really, like, my faith has always been about how I feel. Do I feel the worship music at church? Did I feel good after a service? Did I feel good after reading the Word? And just making my faith about my feelings. And I think my feelings are from the Lord. Like He gave us the ability to feel, and it's a beautiful thing. But I also have just been questioning recently, like, my salvation isn't about how I feel. My Christianity isn't just about feelings alone. In our culture, we make decisions entirely on how we feel. Do I love this? Love, right? Do I love this thing? Do I love this sport? Do I feel good in this place? Do I feel good around these people? Everything is about feelings. And as I'm thinking through that, I'm thinking about, well, what happens when those feelings go away? Because, like, joy is, the feeling of joy is temporal. I can be listening to a song that I love, and then all of a sudden the next song that's on the hit list I hate. And now I'm like angry at my radio trying to like turn off the crap, because it's awful. Taylor Swift comes on or something, And so our faith is similar. My marriage, when I was dating my wife, I had all of these emotions, and I felt all like, just, all these little romance moments of like, man, this just feels so good. And then we started dating, and like we started having to really press into like, what we were going to do next, and things got a little tough there. And it was like the feeling was still there, but it was also kind of going away of like, this is getting sticky. And then, we get married and it feels good again. And it's like all of these new experiences, and we're having all this fun. And then all of a sudden we hit this tragic moment of my mom passing and us having to leave Guatemala and move back to the States. And, then we have a miscarriage, and jobs change, and we don't have any money, and everything just didn't feel good anymore. And so then my marriage doesn't feel good anymore, and we're angry at each other, or whatever we're going through, and then it feels good again. And our Christianity is the same. Our faith in God is the same, right? Like, it's not always gonna feel good. It's not always going to feel good. Our faith isn't about our feelings alone. It's about His work in us. And our faith is not just believing in Him when it feels good and then not believing and not acting when it doesn't. That's not faith. Faith is believing in something even when it doesn't feel good. Just like my marriage, like even in those moments when it doesn't feel good, it's knowing that God's purpose in knitting me and my wife together is good, and it and it is fulfilling a purpose. And the moment that we're in right this second is not going to be forever. It's not our forever story, which is what this podcast is all about, right? Is we're not done. Philippians 1:6, he who began a good work in me surely will see it to completion on the day of his return, right? He will finish what he started in our marriage, in our finances, in our home, in our health, in our eternity, right? He's going and he's doing all the time. And so it's not just about feelings. And I'm a filler, right? Like when I am around a friend that doesn't, receive me, I'm like, I feel that. And I feel like, oh man, does that person, are they mad at me? Did I do something to hurt them? And one day one of my friends just said, he's like, Coop, like, it's not always about you. Maybe I just don't feel like talking to anybody right now, which is kind of, an asshole thing to say, but at the same time, he's right. It's not just about my feelings, Yeah, do I wish he would talk to me and was feeling like vibing? Yeah, but he didn't. So it's not just about me. It doesn't mean that our friendship is over, right? So you can't just base everything on feelings. And I struggle with that. Super struggle. But my encouragement to myself and to you is that if you're in a season where the feelings of your faith just don't feel good, push through. That's part of that last podcast of like, when we feel stuck, there's things that we can do to work through those seasons when things just don't feel good. And I think it's very similar in this topic of feelings. It's like, even when it doesn't feel good, let's keep pursuing the Lord. And that's when discipline and structure and what some people would call religious acts, right? That those things come into play. Yes, they can be, almost praised and made idols, right? But some of those spiritual disciplines are just in place in our lives, or should be in place in our lives, so that when the feelings go away, right, we stay consistent. Like, I'm going to continue to serve my wife even if I don't feel her love today. I should. Right? So it shouldn't just be on emotion. And my wife and I, man, we have a lot of conversations about this because I am such a filler. Like, I feel everything, and it is hard. And I'm so thankful that the Lord made me this way, because I know that He has put those feelings and those desires of emotional connection or feeling connected with people there on purpose. Like, it can be for good. And, maybe the enemy wants to use it for evil, but God will use it for good and has used it for good. He's allowed me to grieve with people and to meet them where they're at in the midst of their grief, because I can feel. And for a long time, because God was not revealing Himself to me, I think my seminary season was probably the hardest of man, I just felt like God was absent from me. Like He had turned His face away from me and just left me. The first years of owning this company and trying to be an entrepreneur, I just felt like, man, the Lord is just far from me. And if it wasn't for the spiritual disciplines, I would have walked away from the faith. But God's sovereignty and His goodness has kept me in the fight. Not because of anything that I have done, but it is fully because of Christ. If I had it my way, I would just be entrenched in sin. But God has continued to put these spiritual disciplines in my life so that I can continue to pursue Him and see Him. And He slowly has revealed Himself to me over the years. Sometimes it's as simple as like something in creation, just seeing, the moon this morning was beautiful and just being captivated by that, or a song on the radio of, just a worship moment, or being in his word and understanding it and being like, wow, man, I've read that 1,000 times, but today that is coming alive for me, right? So he will reveal himself to us. My call to everyone that's listening and to myself is, even when we don't feel it, still do it, still pursue him, go deeper, just continue to strive for his presence, to run after it like it's the thing that is going to save you, because it is, right? Swim to it. Just don't stop. Put some spiritual disciplines in your life so that when you don't feel it, you're still pursuing it. That's all I got. That's it for today. Just remember, man, we're not done. And he is pursuing us. He loves us. He's calling us to himself. Stay in the fight. Don't give up. We're not done. Cheers.